our mission is so intense and difficult and challenging since it's never been done before. Remember, this is like the first plane. It's like Kitty Hawk. We're like putting our first airplane up into the air.
Welcome back to Ladders and Leverage. Thank you so much for joining today. So today's episode, I'm very excited about something a little bit different than our normal. This isn't just about real estate development or building homes. This is about something much bigger than that. So how we protect lives, families, and entire communities. And as a firefighter, I've been on the front lines of wildfires, and what most people don't realize is this: around 90% of our resources are not spent fighting the actual fire. They're spent protecting homes. So think about that. We're throwing everything that we have to defend a home, and in many cases, we're never built to survive, or homes were never built to survive like this in the first place. So it really raises the question: is the system broken? And what does it actually take to fix a problem like this? So I remember being on the Dixie Fire, and we got emergency demob to the Napa Fire. And we got up there, and it was around dusk, and we got right to work. We were initial attack, and we got assigned to a strike team and to protect these 4 homes that were up this large hillside. And the battalion chief went up and he radioed back, "Hey, you guys are good to come up. However, you're going to pass through some fire." So we start driving up this really one lane, windy road. And this was like heavy timber, pine trees. Fire is all around us. And, smoke is everywhere. And I remember being on this one turn, and wind shifted and we got all this smoke pushed our way, and it actually got in the engine. And my engineer turned to me and he's like, "Cap, I can't see." And I was like, "Oh my God." The 4 of us, I mean, we were definitely scared. Um, and we ended up just waiting a second. We drove up and we got up to where the homes were. And of course, all of them were already burned down. So it like really raises the question, is like, was that really worth us, spending our or risking our lives to go up there to see that 4 homes had already burned down? And today's episode, we have on a special guest, Holden. Holden is the creator of HiberTec, and it's going to sound something like a fairy tale, with homes that actually go underground during the fire and then they come back up after the fire comes through. So, Holden, thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you on the episode today.
Thank you guys so much. It's an honor to be here, and I'm very pleased to be here. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So when did you or what did you see that made you realize that the current approach to wildfire protection just really isn't working?
The same thing that you were talking about that we've all seen is that year after year, it's the same story, only it's getting worse, and it's a bad story. It's wildfires are getting more and more prevalent and more fierce, and there are more casualties. And why can't we fix it? Because there's no such thing as a fireproof anything yet. The closest thing that we ever had to maybe fireproof was asbestos, and that was proven to be a cancer causing, so that's gone. Maybe space shuttle tiles or something maybe. None of that's practical, so you can't put a house coated with those. So what happens is that you've got homes that are trying to be fire resilient with sprinkler systems and remediation outside about landscaping, but it really doesn't work, does it? Because every time a wildfire comes in, even if you built with the best fire retardant materials, you might have 3 hours of 750-degree heat window to be able to mitigate some fire. But wildfires burn at 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. They linger for days. They'll annihilate anything in their path. And I was running a construction company 6.5 years ago in North Hollywood. And I was seeing firsthand the devastation that wildfires are doing year after year. And I was just wondering why nobody could think outside the box and figure out a different way to deal with it, because we can't harden homes right
Right.
now. We don't have the technology so that they're going to survive. Even if you build a home out of concrete, a wildfire is going to find the path of least resistance and it's going to blow it up. Even from the inside, it'll combust the furniture inside a house and blow it up from the inside out. So it doesn't matter. If a wildfire wants you, it's going to take you down. And
Mhm.
knowing that and being so frustrated, one night I was with my 9-year-old daughter at the time, and this was 6 years ago, and we were watching the news, and another fire was coming through. We'd already seen Woolsey, we'd already seen Skirball, and the fires were just the same story. Houses were burning, people were in complete panic and alarm. What are we going to do? And I was looking at this thing with my daughter, and we were both so sad and stricken for the victims. And she was doing her math homework, and we were watching the news. And I flipped that page over of her math homework, and I drew a cartoon. I drew a cartoon of a home
Mm.
that was going underground and then coming back up. I just did a house that went
Yeah.
underground, and the fire went by, and then I did the cartoon of the home coming back up. And she went, "Oh, Papa, it's a magic house." And I said, "Yeah, it's a magic house. You can't burn what you can't find, you know? You
Right.
can't harm what you can't see." And we just laughed about it. Oh, we had a house like a David Copperfield magic show home, and it was just silly, but it just kept bugging me and vexing me. And so I thought, well, wait a minute, is this even plausible? Is the technology there to put a house underground and bring it back up? And even if you could, how much would it cost? I mean, if it costs millions and millions of dollars, I'm not interested, because I don't want to make a rich person's plaything. I want to serve the masses. You
Yeah.
know, all those people you were talking about, those 4 homes at the top of that hill, they need HiberTec. They need to be protected. They need to go underground and come back up pretty as you please, untouched. How do you do it? And so that initial cartoon just
Yeah.
kept bugging me. And after about 2 months of it kind of festering, I started to get more serious about it. And I started doing mechanical drawings and with my minimal engineering background. And then I went to my architect and I said, "Do you think this is possible?" My architect is a genius. Aaron Broomer is a Harvard architect that does high-end homes in LA. And we've worked on regular projects before. And I said, "Aaron, what do you think?" And I thought he laughed me out of the room. If he wouldn't have taken me seriously, there'd be no
Yeah.
HiberTech today. If he'd say, "Holden, are you out of your mind?" You know? And I thought he would. And he said, "Wait a minute. You know, hydraulics lift a lot heavier things than homes every day,
Yeah.
you know, than shipping and aerospace."
Mm.
And he goes, "And you're talking about modular homes here. Modular homes are lighter. You know, they're built off-site. They're brought in. You know, we're not talking about brick and mortar." He goes, "Let's start doing some calcs." And we just sat there and we spent a night working on it. And we came up with some ideas and we thought, you know what, this could happen. And then I went ahead and started getting engineers involved, mechanical, electrical, structural, thermal, civil. I have a team you would not believe, and they're on my website, hibertec.com, HiberTec.com. And you'll see we have an incredible team of top of the line engineers, architects, business people, political leaders, and we're all committed to making HiberTec really, really happen. That's it.
That is incredible. I mean, I remember again being on fires and you're on a strike team and you'll be out there for 2 weeks. So we got a lot of time on our hands, especially when most of the fires passed, right? So we're sitting there, we're firemen, of course, firemen have a solution to every problem. That's what we are. We're problem solvers. And we've come up with ideas of maybe we'll have like a sprinkler system just protected, or I think the best idea we came up with was like a metal structure coming up, but never have thought of this. So at high level, like how does HiberTech actually work when a wildfire hits?
Right. Okay, so it's one thing to draw a cartoon of a house going underground, and then you have to think about how does this really work? Well, the first thing was we had to make sure that the engineering was solid and the technology made sense. But more than that, we had to make sure we could protect it. We could actually patent it. It'd be one thing to do it, put all this money into it, and then not be able to get it patented, and then you don't have anything. So we never went out for any money. We funded this thing ourselves as true believers from the very start. And to make sure we could answer your question, how does it work? The first thing we had to do was come up with hydraulics that made sense. The typical hydraulics today are too expensive. They're big and thick and heavy, and there were scissor lifts and different jacks systems. We had to figure a way to streamline it down for our specific application. So we need to find out how much weight our homes would weigh in the worst case scenario with 2 cars in the garage full of gas and
Mm.
a house full of marble countertops and whatever. How much would that weigh? And then what kind of a configuration of hydraulics would fit our application? with loads and calculations to get it up and bring it down and bring it up maybe a dozen times a year, maybe 20 times a year. And that's the first thing we did. We got our first patent on how we figured out the secret sauce of solving the hydraulic end of it, which ended up being the easiest part. The next part was the very difficult part was the ceiling cover. How does the
Oh,
ceiling cover auto deploy as the house goes down? Because if the house goes down and that ceiling cover isn't locked with it, an ember can fly in because
yeah.
the wildfires aren't just from fires hitting your house, it's
No.
the embers that are flying on the wind.
Mhm.
And that's why so many things like sprinkler systems, et cetera, not to I love the fact that there's people thinking there too, and they're trying their best to make mitigation happen because God bless everybody that's trying to save homes and lives. But when an ember is coming 5 miles down on a Santa Ana wind that's blowing at 90 miles an hour, the water's going everywhere except the roof where it's supposed to go,
Yeah,
and the embers are hitting the
totally.
house, and that's a fact. Well, the same thing would be a curse for HiberTec too. HiberTec's going into an underground pit, into a basement. If embers got in there as
Mm,
the house is going down, it's
Mhm.
just going to cook it. So we don't want to have any illusions. So we have to make sure that as soon as there's an alarm down the road of a wildfire coming, you put your house underground. 15 minutes or less from a smartphone app. You can be anywhere you want. Click it, it disconnects and goes underground. We've been working on this for years, and that's a whole other topic of conversation. So the house has to go down. And then the ceiling cover has to immediately auto deploy
mm,
while this is happening. So 15 minutes, the house is going underground. As it's going underground, it's getting shot with fire retardant gas. They used to call it halon. That's not used anymore, but we have
yeah.
alternatives. And then the ceiling cover has to auto deploy over the top and seal it. That's 2 patents down. Now, the
Mhm.
third one that was the most difficult is what do you do about utilities?
Right.
You've got water, you've got sewer, you've got gas in some instances, and now
Yep.
they're not having you have gas anymore. Electric, internet, whatever it
Yeah.
happens to be. All these things are coming through. And nobody ever thought about this before. And this was a reason why we knew we were onto something. Because anytime you have a new idea and you go to the USPTO patent office, they do a search immediately to find out whether anybody else has patented what you're doing. Well, nobody had ever done hydraulics our way, thank God. Tons of hydraulic patents, but nothing to do with our application. And the ceiling cover, the closest thing we had were pool covers that go over,
Mhm.
That's what I was thinking of.
right?
Yeah.
So it's similar, but
Yeah.
not in our application. So we were able to engineer around that so we can own that. But nobody even thought of anything to do with utility disconnect
Yeah.
because unless you take
Yeah.
it as far as I've taken it,
You
there's
would
no
never need to
you,
disconnect them.
you never need to, right? It
Yeah.
wouldn't even come up as a
No.
thought. So we knew we were onto something special, and that took a lot of time because we thought we had to disconnect everything and then figure out a way to reconnect
Yeah.
it. And that was my lame brain idea at the beginning until my engineer said, "Nah, it's not going to work that way." So we now use a telescopic system where it never really disconnects. It just simply elongates and then
Mm,
comes back in, and which is pretty genius. And those are the 3 main components. So to answer your question in a very long-winded way,
no.
a wildfire threat is occurring. You could be at your office in downtown
Mm,
LA. You find out that your house in Pacific Palisades is under threat. You immediately disconnect your home, and there's all sorts of redundant backup systems to what happens if there's somebody in the house. If the power is turned off for any reason, the fire department will have access to be able to do it themselves and put the house under manually in a worst case scenario. But we'll talk about that later. But the main thing is the house goes underground. It covers up automatically. Utilities disconnect in their own way, but actually they just simply telescope out so that the house goes underground. And then you simply raise it to ground level after the threats pass, and it's as simple as that. Wildfires, as you need fuel to eat. They need wind to propel themselves. They need something to burn. If there's
yeah.
nothing on top of the earth, they just continue passing by. And if your neighbors are burning, unfortunately, that your house is going to be safe and sound underground. If your community is HiberTec, you might lose a swing set and a tree and a stop sign and a barbecue outside, but it's not going to be there raising calamity. It's not going to be pleasant, but your home and more importantly, your possessions are going to be intact. And let's face it, most people, when they're out there hosing their roofs off to save their home, isn't so much the home. It is a lot of times, but it's the possessions. Oh my
Yeah.
Yeah.
goodness. You can't lose those priceless memories and things you have in your house. And that's the best thing about HiberTec
Yeah.
as far as that goes. Actually, the best thing about HiberTec is what you said, which was our immediate plan at the beginning, and that is get the firefighters going where they're needed the most. Let's get them out of the communities where they're having to put their own lives at risk, trying to protect people's homes, which is such a noble thing you guys do. Come on, let's give it. I mean, it's amazing the
Yeah.
amount of bravery and sacrifice. But what if I could put you on the front lines where the wildfires, where we need you? and the communities themselves are safe, and you don't have to worry about it. That was the point.
Yeah. That's a whole different outcome for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
because we don't, I mean, I know when we go on these fires, we're not even thinking about putting the fire out. We're just what homes, evacuate people.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of leads
You're in
me
a
to,
mission of mercy.
yeah, really are. And they're dangerous. I mean, I just went on the Thomas fire. We just did training where a firefighter had died in a wildfire. And it's, you see us in these, they were protecting an orchard. And it's just, being out there, they're the most
Yeah, he died for a bunch of avocado trees, and his wife was pregnant.
Oh, come on,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely insane. And when she went and visited, she said, "This is what my husband died for." Like, as a fire wife, that's like your worst nightmare. And yeah, like, I mean, that was one thing I will say when he was on the Napa fire and he showed me this video and I went and I looked up, I was like, why would they send 4 firefighters and an engine to protect these houses? And then I realized it's because they only pay out a couple hundred grand each firefighter, and the engine's only $500,000. So you lose $1,000,000 versus trying to save, $8 million worth of homes.
And a vineyard.
I'm like, but they
And
have,
and a vineyard.
yeah,
Oh,
or
yeah.
a vineyard. And it's like, you have insurance,
I know.
Yeah.
like you can rebuild. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So one question that I had is, do the residents need to evacuate when the home lowers, or can they stay? Like, how does that?
Nobody rides our homes underground. They simply can't. We'd never be able to survive the liability if somebody was to go underground and then to perish. We can't guarantee that, or we don't want that to happen. Will people ride our homes underground anyway? When they have parties and stuff, they want to come over and show, hey, look what we can do. We can go underground and come back up. Yeah, possibly. Would that invalidate our warranty? Yes, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not what the home is for. In the same way, you can't keep pool toys down there and boxes of stuff from college, that it's a cavity for a purpose to save your home when it goes underground and comes back up. So the things you have to do is we have to work together on this thing. However, I mean, I'll say that. So you won't need to go underground because you'll never be having to linger at your home long enough to put yourself in harm's way. The whole point of HiberTec is when the threat comes, you put your house underground and you get out of Dodge. You go someplace safe and you don't worry about it until it's time to come home. And then it comes back up and then you're good to go. That's the whole intent. I'm not supposed to say this, so I've got to think about whether I can or not. But we designed a safe room in the house anyway. I'm not supposed to say this, but just in case.
Well, maybe you don't have time to.
Well, I mean,
leave.
you're always going to have time, but who knows what could possibly happen. I'll tell you one thing, we had to design our home so that there's a stairway to get out just in case. It was an OSHA demand. So we had to design everything with an escape just in case somebody is inside the house, even though we tell you don't go in the house.
Right.
You don't have to, because otherwise there's, again, liability and insurance issues. But we did create a safe room in the house that we did a lot of thermal indexing and heat index testing. The hottest our home is ever going to get underground under worst case scenario is 154 degrees.
That's like a sauna.
A sauna,
almost.
so like big deal. It's not a big deal. So, but I have to go when we're starting to build these things in volume. Then the attorneys will take over and have stipulations on what you can and cannot do. One thing you can do is you can put your house underground when you go on vacation, not have to worry about home invasions. That's another big bonus.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of nice.
Yeah.
But really, it's all about saving homes in wildfires and wind and tornadoes. Also, same concept. But you shouldn't be riding the home underground. No.
No. Well, I was just thinking if we were out there on a fire and, sometimes we don't have a place to go. So I was just.
Well, the house would already be under the ground.
Well, I
though.
know. Is there going to be a Knox box, like, because we have on the commercial
There
buildings
will be.
where we
Oh,
can
yeah.
lower it, raise it?
That's an incredibly, it's hard to come up with a question I haven't heard before.
Yeah.
Because we've been playing this thing for years, but that's a very interesting concept you come up with, Danny, because I've never thought of it. And I've got to ask my lead engineer is Dan Patton, a genius. Our whole team is great. But the question for Dan is, what happens if the firefighters are out there and they're trapped? Will they be able to access the home in a worst case scenario to save themselves? What a concept. In that case, all bets would be off. I would take my chances in
I
a
would
heartbeat.
too. No, because we play that scenario like, okay, we're kind of in a bad spot here. If the fire comes, if there's a pool, we're thinking that we're going to throw our shelters over.
A cellar.
Yeah. I mean, because there has been, I remember Ventura County guys were on a fire, and they took refuge in the house. It was up in Santa Barbara. Bob Amici was on it, and they took refuge in the house, and they didn't have all their, because we wear the wildland gear. We don't have like the structure, but luckily they brought their, because they knew they were in a bad spot. They were up in the mountains of some neighborhood out in Santa Barbara.
And not a lot of escape areas.
They had no escape. So 2 engines left and got out. The other guys were like still messing around, and the fire came up so quick. They took refuge in the house, and then, okay, we're good. Then the house catches on fire. So they moved from that house into another house. And by the grace of God, one of the battalion chiefs who had to medically retire after this because he got a lung, something happened with his lungs because of all the heat.
Wow.
He runs up there in his battalion chief vehicle, or drives up there. The 2 firefighters jump in, and they escape from that. So I don't know. Maybe that's something to look at potentially.
Thank you very much. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a topic of conversation in our next meeting every Wednesday. So thank you.
So I know a lot of questions probably go around, what is the feasibility of actually doing this? Can existing homes have this put on, or is this just for like new
Another
builds?
great question. That question was also brought up by Lori Greiner. Oh, by the way, we were on Shark Tank, right?
Yes.
We haven't even talked about that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Shark Tank was just a couple of weeks ago, and that was an amazing concept. We didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, the sharks could have laughed us off the stage. We never even applied for the show. They came to us and they found out about us through the grapevine. We've never done a press release. What we're doing right now with this podcast is
Yeah.
the first podcast that's ever been done about HiberTec to this degree. We did a conversation with the Entrepreneur Magazine because the editor-in-chief is one of our big supporters, but nothing like this. So congrats on all of us, and thank you
Yeah.
for believing and giving us the opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the Shark Tank was an amazing opportunity. And Lori Greiner's question right off the bat was, what about existing homes?
Yeah.
So the answer I gave her is the correct answer, is eventually we think we can, because it's just a matter of jacking a home up and then excavating underneath. But right now, our mission is so intense and difficult and challenging since it's never been done before. Remember, this is like the first plane. It's like Kitty Hawk, or like putting our first airplane up into the air. We want to do the path of least resistance. We really want to do the lowest hanging fruit. 2 cliches in a row. What we really want to do is be able to prove our model, and that means let's just find scorched earth lots where people have lost their homes. Let's put our basement in the way that we know we can do it, and let's make the rebuild in such a way that that home will never burn again. In the future, when we get our act together, we get a little bit better at this, and we can bring the cost down. Right now, my biggest mission is not feasibility as to whether we can make this happen. There's no doubt in any of our minds that we have the technology to make it happen. It has to be affordable. The whole key is normal, regular people, not rich,
Yeah.
affluent, wealthy people. It can change and save their lives. They can't get insured right now. They've got a $600,000 house, and and not a $6 million house. And how do we save it? The next round. So that's our mission right now, is to make that totally and completely affordable, which I know we can do, as long as we're building our own app, as long as we're not subcontracting out our hydraulics and our ceiling cover and our disconnect junction hubs and all that. If we're building it ourselves in our own fabrication plant, we can bring the cost down so we can service everyone, and then everyone wins. And that's pretty much that whole concept. So
Yeah. No, I mean, so I guess that leads to, how much does it cost to
Right.
build one of these?
Okay, so right now, there's a lot of factors
Yeah.
involved in this. And that brings up another question. And I always get lost. I always have to come back and have you remind me of the original question, because every question for me has so many repercussions, because we thought about it for so
Yeah.
long. So how much does it cost? If it's a 2-story home, it costs a lot more than a 1-story home, because you have to excavate twice as far down. Then you have bedrock you have to deal with, and maybe water and water tables and sump pumps.
Oh, yeah.
So much more information than you guys can possibly know right now. I'll give you again the answer that Lori asked that question too. What's it going to cost? I said somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200 a square foot to begin. It's not cheap. It's more of an expensive play. But guess what? That's exactly what they're charging right now for fire remediated, mitigated homes up in the Palisades. They're charging the same amount, and
Yeah.
those homes are going to burn. I'm sorry to say that. I don't care how you build them, unless they're going underground right now. They are still a sitting duck. I hate to be so brazen to say that, and if I'm wrong, I hope I am. But that's what the contractors are charging now because they're going out of their, way to make the windows, tempered in such a way that they won't be,
Yeah.
Oh,
and they're putting the venting and the new
Yeah.
roofs that are, everything that
Yeah.
is fire retardant and everything that is fire rated. They're going out of their minds and different walls and wall structures and everything they can possibly do with steel. Um, but it's not going to be the same. So I think we're pretty competitive even right now in affluent areas. But my whole mission is to get us down to around $400 or $500 a square foot, all in. Now that's including the excavation and everything, because I can use reinforced concrete forms, and we can get this down to modular homes that are less expensive. And the whole thing is to bring it down so that it's something that people can afford, not just here on the West Coast, but look, Tornado Alley is a huge deal with us. I've been on the phone with Oklahoma, the business development there, for over a year with the top guys there, trying to figure out how we can save Tulsa, Oklahoma City, North Texas, Kansas, Missouri. I mean, you name it. Those homes are getting
yeah, but
obliterated.
those are really like, in California to have $1,000 a square foot isn't as big of a deal. But those areas, I mean, those homes are so inexpensive.
Right, $200 a square foot. So we
Yeah.
gotta get down, but those are a lot of those are single-story homes. So
Yes.
that's already helping me a lot.
Yeah.
I will
And they're probably smaller homes,
and
I
they're
would
smaller
imagine
homes, right?
too.
The average size home there is 1,200 square feet.
And the excavation actually might be easier there than it would be like in Malibu where you're on rock.
100% true. Not only that, is that if you're doing an entire community, you get economies of scale discounts where
Yeah.
you can just go bang, 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 bang.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, one of the targets I most want to get to in the Palisades is Tahitian Terrace. That's a mobile home park, high end, right there on Pacific Coast Highway. You've probably all seen it before. It's sitting right there as you're going up into Malibu. And every single home was obliterated except one. There's 155 houses in Tahitian Terrace, all high end, single
Yeah.
story mobile homes, and everyone is annihilated.
This is
154
perfect.
homes. I would like to do the whole community as
Yeah.
HiberTec, and then I could do it. We were talking about here, where economies of scale, because I have my same excavator would just be going bang, 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 and we just put high end modular homes there, and they would never burn again. The whole community would go underground and then come
So
back up.
I sold a house in Malibu last year and it's over there and it's on the rocks or what have you. And the previous owner was a general contractor. And he was telling me because people were asking if they could put a pool in. And he was saying basically because it was on such hard rock that you
Mhm.
would have to like use dynamite to like blow it. He's like you really can't. You'd have to do like more of like a raised out of the ground pool.
Yeah, you couldn't go ground level.
But yeah, so that's what I was thinking about. I was like, well, how would you do that in like areas that are built on, rock?
Here's another great question. So let's talk about the true logistics and numbers. Of the 15,000 homes, 15,200 homes that were obliterated last um, January, that was Altadena, Pasadena, and Pacific Palisades. HiberTec could only service 3,200 of those. Of the 15,000, only 3,200 are homes that we could actually service. Why? Because the bedrock is too high, the granite is too thick, because there's too much sand, because the lots are too small, because the logistics don't allow us to get our equipment in there. There's so many different reasons.
Yeah.
So we have to cherry pick. We can only do 3,200 of those homes. Some of them have granite that is just too much trouble for us to go
Right.
underground. And I'm sorry that we can't do it. In the future, maybe, but who wants
Yeah.
to be dynamiting and doing all that kind of
Well,
stuff?
that's what I was thinking about because I was like, oh yeah, like and the people who buy in those areas too, it's like you kind of know what you're signing up for. Like
Yeah.
if there's a fire that comes through there, you're gonna burn.
You're gonna burn
Especially if
unless
you're
HiberTech can save you. Now look, right now, irrespective of the deal we made with Barbara Corcoran and Pacific and Tahitian Terrace, that's a single. Uh, she wants to rebuild a single story modular home where her beloved home was on PCH. That's one thing, and we're still working on that deal. We haven't done that deal yet. We're still trying to work out the details there because that entire mobile home park hasn't decided what they're going to do with that land yet. We're still trying to figure out where they're going to go. But that hasn't stopped HiberTech. We have investors and people that want us to build. So we're up there right now doing what you're talking about. We're up there in the Palisades looking at lots right now. We've got our geologists out there. We've got lots on Enchanted Way that we love on Lockman. We're testing those lots right now, and it's
I
looking very
see.
good. It's some of the lots we're seeing are great, which is right about what we said before. About 1 out of every 4 homes we can service now as a HiberTec build. But that's better than nothing. I mean, that's at
Well,
least
yeah.
3,000 homes that we can save that are gonna be fried any other way,
And
and
I imagine though, like, I mean, I have never been to Oklahoma. My parents did get married there in the oldest church in Oklahoma, random fact. Um,
Okay.
but they were in the military, so that's why they randomly got married there.
Uh-huh. When
But
they were 18 and 19.
they were babies, yep.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so but out there, I would imagine
It would
they're
be
not on rock. I mean, I don't know what their soil's like out
Yeah,
there, right?
we haven't done a lot of soil testing out there too,
Oh, okay.
so
I
I
was
don't
just
know.
curious.
I'm not sure, but I think it's gonna be a lot better. Yeah, they really want us out there desperately.
I bet.
It's not just because of the solution that we have. They're not stupid. They want our jobs. When our fabrication plant is gonna be large, it's gonna be 4 or 500,000 square feet. We have to build all of the infrastructure that our homes require. We're not gonna build those homes ourselves. My whole plan for HiberTech is to partner with, KB Home or Lennar or Morrison or Pulte or whoever they happen to be, right? Ponderosa. And these guys will put HiberTech as a menu item on areas where they wanna
Mm,
build. It's like in Napa, you can't even there's moratoriums on where you can even develop anymore because nobody can insure those homes.
yeah.
mm.
So you can't even get insurance. But HiberTech could change the ball game there, in which case the major home builders could then build there. But the only way they could do it is if they had a HiberTech
Yeah.
partnership or solution. Well, I don't want to build homes. I'm not a big home builder. I want to license my technology to the big home builders and then provide what they can't, and that is everything under the ground. So the
Mhm.
hydraulics, the ceiling cover, and the utility disconnect that has to be made, and I want that to be American made. I want it to be done in someplace like Detroit or Saginaw or Youngstown or Gary or Buffalo or one of the Rust Belt cities that could really use the jobs.
How many
Mhm.
jobs would it create?
2,200, we think, in the very first round.
Wow.
That's a big deal for Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean. It's a significant economic impact
Yeah.
in a positive way for a lot of cities, and it's perfect for us because it's in the middle of the United States, and we can shoot out with rail spurs, and because we won't just do the West Coast, we'll do the tornado alley states, and then we'll also do the tropical storms
Mm.
on the East Coast. That's a challenge because the water table is very, very high in like
Yeah.
Florida. So we're only going down one floor though, because most of the homes there are single story.
Mm.
Okay.
So it's all a matter of lowest hanging fruit and doing what we can. But that's the general plan.
So, question, have you spoken to insurance companies about this technology and if they would be able to insure homes in areas that they wouldn't insure now if it
Okay.
was with your technology?
First of all, how are you guys coming up with all the best questions on
Mhm.
no script? You've got no script in front of you,
That's
and
just
you're
how I
just
am.
nailing these like bang, bang,
She
bang.
just shows up, looks pretty, and
Pretty
has
much.
all
No,
the
I'm so
Danny
impressed with
literally
both of you.
literally, Danny does, like, all this, and then I just sit here and I have no script and nothing, and
But
I
you're
don't know, I
hitting
just think about it. I was like, "Well, what
Jiminy
about this?"
Christmas, you guys are hitting every single point like just knocking it out. Insurance is extremely important,
Yeah.
and you caught this long before I did. Again, we never advertised because we didn't wanna be tooting our own horn or doing any of this kind of stuff until we had the goods, and the goods for us meant we had the patents in our hand, and those are not easy to get, guys. Those
Yeah.
took 2 years each and a lot of money and you have to go through these prosecutions, and they're persecuting too. And it's because all the guys at the USPTO are engineers. So
Mm.
anytime you make
Oh.
a submission, they're not stupid. They're making you jump through unbelievable rings of fire.
Yeah.
Why this? Why that? And so they mark it up, and it's round after round after round until you finally get your patent in hand, and it's so golden. Okay, so insurance. Again, they found out about us just probably because we had some little blurb on LinkedIn. That's the only thing I can figure because we have no Instagram account, no Facebook account. We didn't even have a website. And they said, "Who are you guys?" What we found is that the insurance companies, the major insurance companies, the big 5, let's call
Yeah,
them,
Farmers, State Farm.
correct,
Yeah.
Allstate,
Allstate, yeah.
especially Allstate, they all have their own investment arm, completely separate. and yet attached to their company. In Allstate's case and in State Farm's case, it's Allstate Strategic Ventures, and they've got hundreds of millions of dollars in this fund that
Yeah.
only invests in new companies and new technology that can push the needle forward for insurance.
Right.
And right now, let's face it, they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars
Yeah.
in homeowner policies that they're not writing for California alone.
Oh, yeah.
You can't even get a homeowners thing through Allstate. They just
Or
pulled out.
State Farm.
Or State Farm.
Yeah, Farmers is like the only one basically right now that will even touch anything close, but you have to be built after 1980.
Right. Even that's got lots of
Which is
red.
really hard.
Yeah, it's got a lot
Yeah.
of loose ends and a lot of red tape. So we both Allstate Strategic Ventures and State Farm reached out to us. They found us and they said, "Who are you guys? Are you for real?" Our attorney, phenomenal attorney, guys, Carl Kuhn, who's one of the all-stars of my team, for sure, and sat down with me and with the executive crew from Allstate, for example. We had a meeting a year and a half ago, and they were saying, "Are you guys for real? Tell us what you're at. What's your technology? Please send your patents over. Let our engineers take a look at this. Because if you guys are right, how much do you need? Where are you looking to build a prototype home? We're all a part of it." They just decided we were a little too early. That was a year and a half ago, and they're right. We didn't have our third patent in hand yet. Have we circled back to them yet? No. Are we going to? Thank you. Yes. It's just that we're just on Shark Tank 2 weeks ago. We're just new. You're catching us brand new.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Exciting.
Do you know what happened today?
No.
We're full page in the LA Times.
I did read that.
See, it's
I
happening.
actually read your article the other day. They were featured you in well, at least it was on Apple News through LA Times.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, and
See,
I read about you.
Look at the BBC just did a whole spread on us too a couple of days ago. So you're catching us. I mean,
That's so exciting.
so when people are saying, Holden, why haven't you guys done this, this, and this? It's like, guys, we were underground. Literally.
Yeah.
We were in our bunker
Yeah.
waiting till we got all our ducks in a row. And
Yeah.
we just got exposed mainly because of
Shark Tank,
Shark Tank. I mean,
Yeah.
the Shark Tank just blew us up.
Didn't you-
which is huge.
Yeah, didn't you get like the biggest deal or something similar to that?
Yeah, we can't really say that. We
Oh,
can just
okay.
say we got one of the biggest deals in
Yeah.
Shark Tank history, and
Congratulations.
they marketed us that way because they said, "Who's the big $1 million winner?"
Yeah,
and that's great. It was us. It's
Yeah,
HiberTec.
that's awesome.
Yeah, because it validates us.
Yeah.
It really does. And Barbara Corcoran is phenomenal. I flew out already, of course, and met her at her house in her team on Park Avenue, and
Oh, fun.
yeah, it was so fun in
Yeah.
Manhattan, and we'll see if we can do a deal. It's complicated because, again, she doesn't own the land there, but she's a wonderful person, and she autographed some books for my 16-year-old daughter, which I
Oh.
thought was great because she's a role model, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
She's
huge.
amazing. She's so accomplished. And so it all just happened. And so now we're just talking about it now.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're looking. So since then, it's funny, we're going full circle. So irrespective of what happens with Barbara and Tish and Terrace, because that's still in flux, and we're trying to figure out how to make that happen. I just spoke to a specialist that does mobile home park development today, a huge player. And that was on my drive up. So it was like a 2-hour conversation. But irrespective of that, we have investors that have been coming since Shark Tank, and we've already raised $2.5 million just in the
Oh,
last
nice.
week. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's why we're looking at that land in
Yeah.
Palisades, because we're ready to pull the trigger if I can
Perfect.
find the right lot. But we're still looking for investors. So if the podcast goes to
Yeah.
investors, contact me, because it's a ground floor opportunity to do something amazing, and that would be great. And we're looking for strategic partners also. We need solar companies.
Oh yeah.
We need steel companies. We need concrete. We need excavating companies. So I'm open to talking to anybody or putting it together.
So where are you guys at today with the first full-scale prototype?
Well, that's it. Right now we're ready to build anything. We're ready to go. We've got just got an agreement with one of the guys who was at our watch party that we were all part of. The folks that are watching at home or listening, we had a giant soiree to have everybody together. I think there were 70 of us that
Yeah.
watched at a beautiful place in Thousand
Oh,
Oaks.
yeah.
Oh my God, a huge mansion. And everybody got together and had the wine and cheese and silly stuff and watched the show. And God, again, I've lost my
No,
train
I
of
was
thought.
like, where are you at with the first prototype?
Oh, and yeah, so all we're doing now is using the connections we've been making to make the first prototype happen. And one of the key people is a permitting specialist in the Palibu area.
Mhm.
And it was a roll of dice whether they were going to pick us up because it's a tough job. We're doing something that's never been done before. He and his entire team agreed that we were too compelling to dismiss, so they've just come on board. So now that was the last missing link, was somebody that could run interference with the city in order to get us the permitting
Oh, yeah.
necessary. And you know what? Oh, you guys are developers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
The city, yeah, depending on what city it
Depending
is,
on what city it is.
it's difficult for sure, and especially something they don't understand.
Right, education process is gonna take
Yeah.
place. But to answer your question, we're all gung ho. We've got the funding now committed for the land. We're looking for the funding to do the actual build itself. The investor that's putting up the money for the land may go ahead and just qualify as a loan and just build the house for himself, and then let us demo it for 6 months. We need to demo it to show what it can do,
Yeah.
and then the person can move in. But we're looking at all sorts of
So
options.
where are you gonna build the hydraulic system?
It's another good question. Since the hydraulic system that we've invented does not exist,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm
that's
like,
why the first home is going to cost so much money. We're not
Yeah.
going to pass that cost on to the investor. If we got a customer right now in the Palisades that said, "Holden, I love you guys. I want to build a home on Enchanted Way, and I've got a lot right here, and I lost my home. How much is it going to cost?" It's really going to cost us probably around $2,000 a square foot because the first hydraulics is going to be so
Yeah.
expensive. A one-off, as you know, and
Yeah,
everything. But
where do you
I'm
find a company that you're like, "Hey, I just need you to build this
Oh, no,
crazy
believe me,
brand new
that's all we've
hydraulic
been
system?"
doing for the last 6 years. So we've got 5 companies, all
Okay.
from Michigan all the way to North Carolina that are
Okay.
specialists in hydraulics, and they already know our specs. And so we're playing them all off each other of what we need them to do on the first home. It's not economical. We're gonna take a hit on this.
Yeah.
We're not looking to make money on our first 5 homes. We're all just trying to prove our model, right?
Right.
We're gonna pass the savings on to whoever our customer happens to be, and we're just gonna overbuild the heck out of that home
Yeah.
and make sure it works. It's gonna work perfectly. It's gonna be overbuilt. But to answer your question, right, at the beginning, the hydraulics are ridiculously expensive. We're talking probably $600,000-700,000 just for hydraulics alone, when it really should be half that. But when we're doing our own fabrication plant, when we're raising the money for that, and we're doing, and we've already, gosh, I can't even. I'm not supposed to drop names, but we've already met with a state senator that's behind us that is talking about all the earmark money that is available in the government to keep jobs here.
Mm.
And they make it attractive to you to build a fabrication plant, because those 2,200 jobs means a lot to the U.S. economy, not just the state or the city that it happens to be in. And there's lots of funds and incentives to get you. There's where they'll train your people, job force, and they'll give you low interest loans, and they'll take existing facilities that have been abandoned or fallow, like steel or automobile, like GM.
Yeah.
They're sitting there, tumbleweeds blowing by, and they're 500,000 square foot
Yeah.
places that they'll repurpose for HiberTec potentially. And all those things will bring the cost way, way, way down. So,
Mhm.
but the first one, you're right. The first one's going to be expensive, and we're expecting to eat it, but
Yeah.
that's just the cost of doing
Yeah,
business
you're
on the
making
first
your
one.
prototype.
Correct. Yeah.
So 7 years building, getting the patents and, answering all the questions that, devil's advocate. What's been the biggest challenge bringing this to actual real life?
I think perception. It's
Mm.
just perception. It's we did a small crowd fund, not to raise a lot of money, but mainly to see how the rank and file humanity would look at us. We were curious, so we went to Republic, and if you even go right now to republic.com, and you can see, just put HiberTec in there. We ran it for about 3 months just to see what would happen, and we ended up with 70 investors that came in. I couldn't believe it. At around $90,000. It was $250 buy-in at I don't remember the details, but I think it was $15 million market cap on a safe, which is all gobbledygook for different ways that you can invest in on a crowdfunding platform that's been proven. In any way, we did this just to see what would happen. And to answer your question, it's perception. Half the people think it's so amazing that we're doing, and we get a lot of love for the sacrifice we made because they understood that we've got our own skin in this game, way more than 90,000. We've got $1 million plus of our own cash and capital into making this happen. So we weren't trying to take advantage of anyone. If anything, we're putting our own lives and my
Yeah.
daughter's college fund on the line to fund this to make sure that it works. That was the whole idea. So, um, that's one thing. But the other half are trolling us like crazy. Like, this is the stupidest idea we've ever heard. Is people are going to die underground? How are they going to breathe? It's like, guys, nobody goes underground. I
Yeah.
says it. We have it 3 times on our website. Nobody rides our homes underground. But people don't want to read that. Their knee jerk reaction is, oh, what is this, like a time machine? You're going to put houses. This is a waste of resources, or they don't understand the amount of sacrifice and diligence we've put into this
Yeah.
thing to make it legitimate, and that we're not looking to take advantage of anyone. We just want to build our first home to prove the model, and then we'll let the rest speak for itself. Just build one.
Yeah.
So we're not looking for millions and millions of dollars. We're not trying to rob anybody. We're just trying to put our own commitment forward and make it happen.
So the people that did the crowdfunding for the $250, do
Mhm.
they get ownership in the company?
Yeah, they end up with the way that it works, and I'm not an attorney on this, is they now have an equity piece of the company
Oh,
that at a bargain basement, and they could get
Yeah.
in for $250 or $300. But the funny thing is that even though the minimum buy-in was $250, the average buy-in was over $1,200.
Oh, really?
And I thought, wow, I love these people. And they all got hats and shirts, and
I love it.
they all got and I communicate with them every 3 months. I just do an update. I mean, when we hit Shark Tank, the people were like dancing in the streets, because you never crowdfunding. You know how that is. You never know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. Half of them
Yeah.
go nowhere.
Yeah.
So we actually said we were going to make it happen, and it's going to happen. And
That's fun.
those people are going to have a lot of fun, because
Yeah.
they're going to say they were part of it at the beginning,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
hopefully they'll make a nice return also.
So, you can see this, like, eventually, you get your first prototype, you guys get your plant up and running, and then you can, bring the cost down. So do you feel like you're gonna see these developers, or like the big developers and such, coming out and actually wanting this as one of their, items that they're gonna put as like a menu, like you're saying?
Yeah, I don't see how they have any choice. I mean, I really don't. I mean, you've been up there to Napa. I've been to Santa Rosa, Napa, Sonoma. We've gone all up north. We've gone all the way south, Laguna, Burns, all these, Santa Barbara. Um, what else are you going to do? There's tracks and tracks of homes right now that can't even get permitted to be built, and a lot of people are just gun shy. They can't get insured. Once we build one home, it goes underground, it comes back up. We know that it survives the most, ferocious wildfires. Why wouldn't a builder
Yeah.
do it? Especially when I can show them how they can make a lot of money, because they're going to upsell it. They're going to add a value add to it because of it being underground and what it does. They're going to market as a premium product at the beginning, just like Tesla did, right? The first time his car came out in 2005 was $180,000. And his promise was, and they had a waiting list of people, because those people are willing to pay for that car, just like they will HiberTec at the beginning, that can afford it. Anybody that has the financial ability, why would you rebuild your home in the Palisades or Malibu anywhere else where for about the same money you can build a HiberTec home? I can't imagine why you wouldn't just do that. And that is something that a major builders can understand right
Yeah.
off the bat, I think.
And like Marissa was saying about the insurance, I mean, imagine if it opens up all these doors where you can now get insurance, or instead of paying $40,000 for a insurance policy, you're back down to what a normal insurance policy
Not
is.
only that, I'd like to see another thing happen. I'd like to see the state of California and Oklahoma and Texas and Colorado's interested. Of course, they had the Marshall Fire. You wouldn't believe the amount of interaction I've had just in the last 3 weeks from all these different states. They've seen the show and they're
Yeah.
wondering, are you real and not real? But yeah, none of them want to be in the insurance business. None of them want to be, and we do solve that.
How are you gonna test it? So you build the prototype, and then are you gonna light a giant fire on top?
Well, look, I wanted to. I
Well,
wanted
I was
to.
like thinking about that, and I'm like, well, you gotta test it somehow.
You got to talk to your husband here. The problem is Is
They
that
do controlled burns.
I want to do it exactly. That was I
And
have
we
it.
burn houses down to practice.
I know, but you do it on a safe area.
Yeah,
The
how are you
problem-
gonna do it?
Oh,
Like
you're
you're
in a
gonna build it
neighborhood.
in the Palisades.
Right. So what happened was
And
is
then
that
you're
I
gonna
talked to a
light
fire
it.
marshal in Malibu, and you're
And
going to
he's
know
like,
this
"No."
guy. And
Yeah.
he said, you need to build this in one of our facilities.
Yeah.
But you do it in the community, the EPA will never let
No.
you do it. You're just
No.
going to have to wait for a wildfire to
Yeah.
come in and put it underground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, but that's all we can do because I can't do a controlled burn in a neighborhood.
I
There's too
know. I
much
was thinking
risk.
that. I'm like, so you build it in the Palisades, your prototype, and then it's like everybody else is building their homes. No one's gonna let you light that on fire.
No. We're gonna, unfortunately, and this is really unfortunate, have
If
to
your
wait
house
for
goes down, everybody around there's gonna be like, why'd they put their house underground? Are
they're
they gonna
know.
light it on fire? Like
No,
that's what I
no,
would
no.
be like if I was in that neighborhood. I'd be like,
Yeah, right.
what's going on with the HiberTec house?
Yeah, honey, they just put the house underground. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we can't. I would love to build one on firefighter land. That's where I really want to build one. Actually, you know where I want to build more than anything? I would build this ahead of doing a single family residence. I want to build a command center. You guys lose them like you did up in the Paradise Fire on the second day of the fire. And then you have no command center up there. I mean, it's gone. I'd love to build a 2,000 square foot command center at the fire line where you guys need to be, where you've lost something before, and make that a HiberTec
That's
property.
an excellent point.
Yeah. Why can't the state donate the land? There's so much state-owned land.
Hello? You know, it's so simple.
I mean, just right here, we have a bunch of land that's owned by, it's a partnership between the Caneo Recreation and Park Board and the city of Thousand Oaks. And so, but there's also the Santa Monica Mountain Conservancy. It's like, why not them donate a small portion of the land so you could build one? And because they have like rangers that live in them. So
Exactly.
you could build a really small one that would be like for a ranger to go down, and then we can light it on fire and see if it works.
Exactly.
Hey, she's on the board of Park and Rec. Maybe she can make it happen.
Well, that would prove our model the same as doing a single family home. But get this, we talked
Yeah.
about Calabasas. Calabasas lost our community center, 2,500 square feet. The mayor of Calabasas, 6 times, Dennis Washburn, loves HiberTec. He's at our party. He's right here at the end. That's Dennis right there. Dennis was the mayor of Calabasas, founder of the place for 6 terms.
Oh my gosh.
And he loves HiberTec. So he took myself and our lead engineer and one of our other guys, Julian, up to 6.5 acres up in the top of Mulholland Drive and Old Topanga. And that's a perfect lot for us to rebuild.
Yeah.
And they've got a budget. I'm saying, guys, let's just build that. That'll prove my model.
Yeah.
B, be a phenomenal community center for Calabasas. You guys have the money to build it.
Yeah.
And whatever it costs, any overrun, I'll eat. So it won't be super expensive for you. We'll just do a regular bid on a rebuild. Only we'll make it the HiberTec way. You guys will be visionaries as being the first city that ever figured it out.
So are they going to do it?
Who knows? I'm trying. Maybe the podcast will help.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Then wouldn't that be great?
Do you know his son is Danny Washburn, who I used to?
Oh,
yeah.
You
was
dated
just-
someone before me?
No, didn't date him.
Oh no, this is
Don't
going.
you remember?
This is going a wrong direction.
He was a server with me at
Oh,
Calabasas.
yes. Oh, that's that.
Yes.
Guy? Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Wait, you're talking about this guy's.
Yeah, his son. Yeah, I didn't
Oh
even
my
realize
gosh.
that. So his son and I, we used
Used to
to serve tables at a restaurant in Calabasas
Let's
called
get Danny on the
Finn's.
phone.
Oh my God, it's so funny. He drove a gold Sebring with the top down. And whenever he would come to work, we just all would be like, look at freaking Danny rolling up in his convertible Sebring and gold
Oh
to go
my
serve tables.
God.
That's so funny. But no, Calabasas, come on. That's like the bougiest city in the United States.
And wouldn't they just love to
should've.
say we're the visionary
100%.
city on the world? And they need it. They lost their 2,500 square feet. And by the way, that's the size that we want to build.
Well, and their whole city is basically in a
a
wildfire. So,
Yeah.
like, there's not one part
Yeah.
of Calabasas that's not at risk.
Listen, I don't know. If you're asking me why we're not hot on that, it's just because I am
mean, the
overwhelmed. I am
Kardashians
so
live there.
overwhelmed. I
You
know.
just need to get
Yeah.
get Kim or
Hey, I just
one
went.
of them to build it.
Dennis, last time I was there, took me up to see Cyndi Lauper's land. It's all up there too.
There's
you know?
so many famous
Oh,
people
yeah.
that live in Calabasas. Yeah,
And wouldn't they love to be part of HiberTec? Are you kidding me?
100%.
Oh, not to mention, you know about the television show and all that too. But that's a whole nother thing we don't even want to get into. You don't even know about that.
The
we-
TV show?
Have you know about the TV show?
Uh-uh.
Oh my goodness. We got approached by executive producers that do reality TV shows for Bravo and Netflix
Oh,
and stuff.
fun.
Yeah. And they said, "What's this HiberTec thing?" And this was like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And what? And I said, "Yeah, this is for real. We're really doing it. It's going to happen." And they said, "Well, we're interested in filming it. We want to see your journey. We think
Oh, that'd be
we
fun.
think people would tune in to
Oh,
watch
yeah.
100%.
to watch
Everybody
you,
would.
yeah, to chase this
mean-
incredible dream."
Everybody
Yes.
would.
And they said, "We're going to be honest with you. Whether you crash and burn or you
Yeah.
make it,
it's good
irrelevant
TV.
to us. It's good TV."
Yeah.
It
you know?
is.
So
So are you going to contact them to
contact them. We already signed a contract with them.
Oh, fine.
The second that we put a shovel to ground, that show kicks in 24/7. And
Okay, so they're gonna
They're gonna
just watch the whole construction process
from beginning to end.
That's awesome.
and then when you light the big fire,
No, but that's
to
gonna-
test it,
yeah.
they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
But they had an idea. They had a pyrotechnics guy that says we
Yeah.
can simulate a fire. But I don't want to do a simulation. But they can do that for ratings, where they
Oh.
could get
Yeah.
away with it, like you do when
Yeah.
you have, I don't know, a Bruce
Wow.
Willis movie where
Oh,
everything
yeah.
I mean, that's
explodes,
kinda
or
cool.
a rock thing.
Anyway,
Yes. So we have a TV show that's already contracted. You know what they're calling it?
Hmm.
This is the preliminary. Can I even say this on the air? My attorneys are probably freaking out, man. What are you talking about? At least they're going to say you didn't talk about your fourth patent. We have a fourth patent that we're more excited about than the other three. We have a fourth patent.
Wait,
It is
but you're not supposed to-
mind-boggling. I know, we're so excited about it. We're talking about it all the time. That's why I'm so tired. That's why I'm forgetting stuff I'm talking about. Guys, I
So
never
much
sleep.
going on.
I've got so much going on. And plus I'm a single papa. I got my 16-year-old. It's my life is very complicated. You guys are great. I appreciate everything. We have a fourth patent that'll blow your mind. And the TV show's called Fire Escape with an exclamation point.
Oh my gosh, I
Oh,
love
that's
it.
And they
Right.
think there's going to be 2 to 3 million people that are going to tune in every week to watch us chase our impossible dream. And
Oh, I'm sure.
and me following me around, there's a scary concept because I have zero charisma and I am not good on camera. And my daughter's going, "Papa, there's no way a camera crew is going to be following me around." And I don't know what to do about this. That's why I wanted. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
So, if this works, the way you're describing it, doesn't just change homes, it changes how we fight fires entirely.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's why when we met and I heard the idea from you and Julian, I really do think this is, I know, because I know you personally now, and I've never seen somebody more dedicated and put everything in. And what you're creating is going to save lives. It's going to save firefighters, communities. So I think that is just really special. So thank you for that and thinking of firefighters and the safety of everyone. Before we close, we always have a final five. Just a couple of questions.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's a little rapid fire. So what is the biggest, and yeah, just little short answers. What is the biggest risk you've taken building HiberTec?
Biggest risk. The biggest risk. God, I never even think about it like that. It's just so necessary. I just wake up every morning knowing I'm doing the right thing because our hearts are in the right place. Nobody's doing this to get rich. Clearly. We're doing this because we think this revolutionary technology is going to save homes and lives.
That's awesome.
So I don't know there's no risk.
Yeah,
Somebody's got to do it.
that's awesome.
It's got to be us.
And what tested your conviction the most during this process?
Nothing's testing my conviction either. I'm fully on
Yeah.
board. I never wake up thinking, "Gosh, did I do the right thing or not?" We get so much love and appreciation. You guys are just another example of what I love and appreciate so much. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this because you're taking it seriously. I mean, I get emotional about it because I think I was put on the planet to do this. I did a biofuel company, and I learned a lot about greed and permitting. I built the largest inner city biofuel company in the United States in downtown LA. They said it could never happen because we had enough methanol on there to blow up a city block. Just to get permitted for that, you cannot even imagine. I've already been through that.
Oh, yeah.
I could put a house underground on hydraulics. Testing my conviction? No, conviction
I
is
love it.
strong.
I love it. If this works the way that you believe it, and it will, what changes the most?
Well, I think it revolutionizes construction in homes and in high risk areas. I think the time's going to happen when we're driving up Pacific Coast Highway and the alarm goes off that a wildfire's coming, especially with El Nino. This and the record one's going to happen now, and Santa Ana winds are blowing like crazy, and here comes a wildfire threat, and there's burning embers on the wind, and you and I are going to be driving up in our Sebring convertible, gold, and we're going to be driving up. We're going to look up in the hills, and we're going to see those homes going down.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get goosebumps because we're gonna know those homes are safe and we did it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's what I say.
And the last one, what is one message you would give to homeowners in wildfire prone areas right now?
Don't give up hope. We've got technology that can save your home. If we can't make it affordable right now, we will. I'm not gonna stop. I will not stop. This will happen, and the time is now. So
Yeah.
don't sweat it. We're gonna take care of you.
I love it. I mean, this could change the game. I mean, this could save firefighters' lives. This could save communities, homes, lower insurance costs. So what you're building is really something special. So I appreciate you being on, and we're here for you, full support. So to everyone that listened today, I hope you got value from it. And thank you for joining Ladders and Leverage. We'll see you on the next episode.